Hello people of the VC, Andy back for another episode of 3 Random Records. During this series I'm showing my metal record collection, the items that I've yet to show in any of my previous updates. I've given every record in my collection a number between 1 and 150 randomly. They're not in chronological order or anything like that. And then I'm asking you guys to comment at the end of each video, and I'll pick 3 numbers from those comments, and they will be the records I show in the next video. Simple as that. So without further ado, let's get on. So I had thankfully I had 3 numbers, 3 new people that hadn't joined in with us before. First up, number 71 was selected by DJ Legion. He's again somebody who shows a lot of good music. Started doing film reviews as well, so you should check out his channel. Shows some really cool stuff. Number 71 that he chose is Alcatraz, No Parole from Rock and Roll, probably most famously known as one of Yngwie Malmsteen's first bands. Also has Graham Bonnet on vocals, who was I think he replaced Ronnie James Dio in Rainbow. He was also briefly in MSG, Michael Schenker Group, before getting fired. I think in the first following his first concert for basically being pissed up on stage and getting his knob out. Which is, I guess, understandable, but it's also very, very rock and roll, but clearly not what MSG were all about. Anyway, yeah, sorry, back to the album. This is a UK pressing from 1983 on Rockshire Records, licensed by RCA. This has got a little bit of damage on here, which I'd like to fix. It's a good album, as you expect from Malmsteen. It's a sort of fair amount of guitar virtuoso tracks on here. I mean, this is an album that I haven't played for a while, so seeing this come up as a selection for this video, I put it on, and the first couple of songs just instantly make me think that I'm not going to enjoy the album. So Island in the Sun and General Hospital. In fact, Island in the Sun is probably one of the more famous ones on here. I don't really like it. It's a bit too melodic. It just doesn't click with me. But then the third track, Jet to Jet, kicks in, and that's a really good track. And then follows up with Hiroshima, Mon Amour, Karina Kori, and then moves on to side 2 with the likes of Incubus is a very short instrumental, only about a minute long, with Malmsteen obviously being given free rein to show what he can do. Too Young to Die, Too Drunk to Live, great track. Bigfoot is a very atmospheric song. Again, Malmsteen gets to let loose a little and show what he can do. Star Car Lane, okay, good track. And Suffer Me, a bit of a weak ending from my point of view, but overall a good album. I'm glad to be showing this in this episode. Yeah, so as I say, RCA, nothing much to show on the very generic label. Okay, so excuse me, number 71. Thank you, DJ Legion. Next up, number 18 was selected by John, Bitbot Boom. I quite like the way some people are putting numbers and getting involved and giving me explanations for the numbers they're choosing. So John actually chose number 18, but number 18 made up from 6 plus 6 plus 6, 666, a very, very metal number. And as I say, all the numbers that I've allocated to my records have been completely random. I've got some cataloging software that did it for me, and I was hoping this would be Number of the Beast by Iron Maiden. That would have been so cool, but It's not, unfortunately. It is Flotsam and Jetsam, No Place for Disgrace. 1988. I think most people know this album. It's a bit of a classic album. Part of me thinks it's a classic album because Jason used to be in Flotsam and Jetsam, but obviously he's not on this album and doesn't play on it. It's not one of my favorite albums. It's a good album. I like it. If I want a good bit of thrash to put on and listen to and bow my head to, thump my fist to, this isn't one I would generally reach towards. This is a Dutch pressing, I must say, on Roadrunner. Despite the simpleness of the Roadrunner label, it's a label that excites me. You know, Roadrunner and Music for Nations and Metal Blade, you know you're going to get something special, certainly if it's if from an 80s pressing. And for a late 80s album, I mean, the UK late 80s albums are really flimsy, and this feels, you know, quite solid. There's quite a bit of vinyl on here, so it's a good pressing. It sounds good. Tracks on here that I would recommend if you've not heard it. The title track, No Place for Disgrace, it's good. I actually like the slow bit on here, to be honest with you. When it changes of pace, I really like that bit of it. But other than that, Dreams of Death and Hard on You are probably my favourite tracks on this. It's an okay album. I'm really happy to have it in the collection. But you know, it's not a standout piece of thrash history for me. Actually, one thing you guys may be able to help me out is there's a track on here, the penultimate track, PAAB. No idea what that stands for. If you know, please leave a comment below. I'd love to know what it stands for. I couldn't had a look online for what the lyrics were about, and I couldn't figure it out from there. So yeah, so thank you, John, Bitbot Boom, number 18. If you don't know John, you've got to go and check out his channel. His music knowledge is fantastic, and he shows a lot of great metal and hard rock records, and his knowledge of I think new wave of British heavy metal bands is superb. So do go and check out his channel. Really worth doing. Number 3 for this, and finally, Metal and Me, a new subscriber. Just recently joined the VC. He's got an intro video up and a couple of videos up that he started showing bits of his collection. Recommend you go and check him out and support him and see what he has to show and introduce yourself to him. So he selected, he was the first to comment on the last video, and he wanted to see number 1. Now, as I say, if he chose number 1 because he thought it might be the first record in my collection, I'll say all the indexes were allocated randomly, but number 1 is not a bad choice. This is a live version of Running Free from 1985 on EMI Records. I guess you could say this is one of the singles from the Live After Death live album that Maiden did in 85. Running Free on that album is great. So Live After Death was the first Maiden, the first metal album I owned, and having never been to a concert at that time, hearing things like Running Free and the fact that it was about 8 minutes long, and the whole audience participation piece was superb. So this is disappointing as a result of that. So despite this being a 12-inch single, it plays at 33 RPM. I think you can probably see there that there's the run out is, you know, is 2/3 of the record, and the actual Running Free is it's like the radio edit version. It's about 3 minutes long, 3 minutes 26, and the whole audience participation bit is cut out, and it's a shadow of what it is on the album, and that's really disappointing. The good thing about this record, though, is the tracks on the B-side. Now, actually, what's not so good, as you can see, this is the label's completely mispressed, and and is off center, and actually does run into the run out. So when I'm playing, you have to basically watch out for when it finishes, otherwise your needle runs over the label and makes a horrible sound. But on the B side, we have a one live track, which is a non-album track, and it's an early Maiden song, Sanctuary. And the first time I heard the song Sanctuary was actually on this single, so I prefer this version to the early Maiden version, and this version of Sanctuary is live. It's also recorded at Long Beach Arena, and the second track is Murders in the Rue Morgue, which was recorded on the Hammersmith Odeon leg of the Live After Death tour. So whereas they're both early Maiden songs or classics, Sanctuary I really like on here because this was the first time I heard it, whereas I was more used to the Paul Di'Anno singing Murders in the Rue Morgue, so I still prefer his version of that than this, but it's a nice 12-inch to have. I bought this in God, it wouldn't have been 85 because as I say, Live After Death was the first album I had, but then obviously I was heard of Killers to hear Murders in the Rue Morgue before I heard this, so I probably got this in about 86 or 87. And it was in Spillers Records in Cardiff, so I remember the record shop, but not the year at the time. Okay, so there we have it. Episode 3 random records. I need more numbers for the next few videos. There were a couple of people who commented at the end of episode 2. I already had enough, so I've carried those forward, so they're going to be included in the next episode of this, but I still need numbers. So if you've been watching these and you've not given me a number so far, please leave a number in the comments down below. I will give preference to people who haven't selected a number as yet, and then go back and give people a second go if I'm starting to run out. But hopefully I can keep this going for a few more episodes with new people joining in. Have a look at the previous videos for the terms and conditions. I'll also put the a summary of of what I'm doing in the description, along with all the numbers that have been chosen already. So you're not ending up having to choose a number that has already gone. Well, I hope you enjoyed this. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, hit like, leave a comment. If you don't want to leave a number, leave a comment about these records. I'd love to talk metal with you. I'll be back with the next 3 records in my collection that you've chosen in about a week. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Leave a comment, subscribe, like. Thank you. Cheers. Bye.